All right, Abusia, former MPP appointee, yes, is in big trouble. Where the man make us one per se or connecting some no makasa nchirimo. At the quintia, omo wishes a court, a man on a court 10 years imprisonment. Abusia, yenti ne call some say ha. That's why I bear media judge Abusia so I say and then they connect to a channel this one. I need to know book coin service or subscribe like Nabusa bounce share. My for a pen 70 be no anya bi etem. If I say konya we so e ma wo eye official pa. That's why I bear media GH.
Enough of a crown who has a man. Enra Attorney General Dr. Dominic Akuritinga Ayine Echo appear what government accountability series so government accountability. Wisdom one will report to free presidency. Bonneto for mami in 2 minutes.
In 2 minutes, Dr. Ayene said one that the office of the special prosecutor hand over the needed documents Amano to tender in the request for the extradition of Ken Oforiatta say ebeshe na omodeno aba. And then there was a issue about Ken Oforiatta's dealings in the US. Yeah, Ochemu says na oni en kasa no idea Ken Oforiatta high lawyers are very experienced. US abrochimemu say ombeshe na the extradition process no omo account court na entumi embemu inti no ontumi nka se ene ken beba anase ochina ken beba anase beba next year eno de onisa to me no because I say omo exhausted all of those court processes na war US no so omo finalize all the court processes inti if say bia or ka say or they call ebia one of the high courts or US na se court ni ruling against him he could take the appeals court in US even to the extent so we can fight this at the Supreme Court of the United States of America.
And I say na asemo
eno ni nsema
it could travel to till 2028.
And only we are Dr. Dominic Akuritinga Ayene Eka Enra say right now no Ken has all that legal means no to fight even at the Supreme Court of the US. Into me the country say or bear ne and I say or bear china no and the end
okay
it's a no.
My ATM said Dr. Dominic Ayene Eka Ken Oforiatta semno ewo wa bra na wo address Ghana for no Dr. Dominic Ayene Attorney General of Ghana.
I have formally transmitted the request for the extradition of former Finance Minister Ken Oforiatta and his chef de cabinet, Mr. Ernest Dako Akori. You will recall that the Office of the Special Prosecutor investigated acts of corruption and corruption-related offenses by the former Finance Minister and his accomplices and proceeded to file charges in the High Court of Justice against them. On November 19th, 2025, that is this year, my office received a formal request from the Office of the Special Prosecutor to initiate extradition proceedings for Kenneth Oforiatta and Ernest Dako Akori from the United States of America. Following a preliminary review, our International Cooperation Unit observed that certain aspects of the request require clarification and enhancements to align with the applicable legal and procedural requirements. We communicated these observations to the Office of the Special Prosecutor via a letter dated 25th November 2025 and requested supplementary documentation to ensure completeness. On December 9th, 2025, the Office of the Special Prosecutor provided a requested additional documentation and addressed the observations that we raised, thereby finalizing the extradition request packages. Subsequently, on December 10, 2025, my office transmitted the complete request to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for onward transmission to the competent authorities in the United States of America. That is, in this case, the Department of Justice of the United States.
So that was the Attorney General of the Republic of Ghana, Dr. Dominic Ayene. It's wisdom. I said, Attorney General, ya aware, sir. Ken Oforiatta akwa pay a lawyer for kuku dama wo US. Na wɔnom sɛ wɔn mmra mmɛboa na yɛtwe no don't push me, I'll go myself. Say Ghana for twe no na US for nso twe no say yɛma wo mba Attorney General enim sɛ saa de no ɛkɔ me nso kra matete no hu sɛ ate sɛ wayɛ nkrata wɔ hɔ a sɛ waba bɛyɛ citizen o sɛ afei na wɔba bɛyɛ citizen o matete saa ensensɛm no nso asɛm wei etu nya ntwae
PSC etu de nya ntwae sɛ the medical aka no
ebetumi travel to 2028
tie papa no ekuta sika o kenofora acha ho
sika de bi won ho
ana kro na wakwa kopie so no sɛ kenofora acha kra mom hu ni sɛ o ampa boni bi ho kra waye ne mom aha ne de owo ntimi ma they protect him krofo etukwan na o se wakodi aduro sɛ na medi kan ka no o maye boni bi o maye bibi sɛ wo mi krom o ntimi ko mi krom betimi akumi on be mi sei ne ya ma wadi aduro wa seek asylum eno no ofa procedure no mu a wan tukwan wa anye hwe a ye be ma won krata wo de betena krom ho na afi won ko ba bia because osu ko krom a ye bekum but yemra kenofori atane ma o ye yi so say why you mindful to some for over 7 years. I think in February last year, Anna, the former president, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, eyi ni free so say a finance minister. Now or the ambassador at large. Minister, ambassador at large.
And ambassador at large. Position be Jubilee House.
And the ambassador at large, no, why says no be school prefect of all the ministers. The BCBA still now na Ghana sika ye kwakobo besia bibia na kenofura ta go control so. No akwakọ tenachiri. Ene wawie wadwuma a obdi wo man Ghana hanom sei. Edu baby na wono ani MPC say. Wo mo hwe de we a kenofura ta de wo man sika sema e fa so a na enye nti MPs be ye 89. Sorry I say nana omampani pamo kenofurata wo cousin wo nua kenofurata pamo no na kwanya wode wo man ni sika efa so no enye kromo asi ye meboa nanso president Akufo-Addo say aha ne he ni nua na mede na to Ghana sika nyina no me nko pamo no na me fa wan ko kyena Ghana sika na no na me pesika hwan aye ne ntema mama me edi kenofurata ntena ho
Emma kenofurata na nkasa kra ka say yadia wono no ebesi form because o si form akwa it say papa waja ne ma wo a onhwe wo mo
ade na asesa
MP for wo mo sorry tia sa na ma ni nyina emu bebiri wo mo call primaries wo mo lusu ye because system no edisika pushi amanfo tia sa MP for
what did they make a chona say enti yemfa ne say kenofurata o megu yanim ase ensemo Ghana for yen central reportage saworo e wo social media ni ade a ye kan de gu ne ho fi yen fa na sa se say e allege omra megu yanim ase ye pese kenofura tamra na ensem ahodo a OSP attorney general o minor agencies ahoro a ehwehwe corruption and corruption related matters mu no yemra metnas na SML on fan chirechemu mra yen na baby biara entansa hodo beye enum ne akire ayede abo kenoforiata se waye no omra megu yanim ase wo meka nkire Ghana fo nyina se ensemu a wo maka ni nyina me kenoforiata ma sign me ho afi wo pa abroche no mfanya de obeye sa anye sade a PSC animguase a kenoforiata age no enye ono nko ase de maka no nyanka sa enke obrempon meje bre no ma tworo book edi afa kenoforiata nko adidie ho na mama enchiri ma dati bi omo bebe nyina me publishing online me enchiri ma nyina ehu under the regime of Nana Addo Akufo-Addo kenoforiata obeye finance minister over 7 years wo krom ha ema ono ani MPs ewo ne party obedi mu finance minister sorry say ne finance minister oye ne tosini ne finance minister oye na embo man no ne finance minister no ayeso no nko an mfa so no odwene ho no nenso omampani entie wom na emom ode abufuo de hia om dano me hia MPP pani bi pa for some reasons me di ni din bete piesie wo see wono ankasa ko na Addo Akufo-Addo eko bisa ni nsem about corruption say na ni abre person fight na because ohwedie ma na ekro e wanda na Addo Akufo-Addo na wo hunu saa gidie no wo hunu saa opepa no wo hunu saa willingness see ye be fight corruption enti wo hwa me say from 92 aka bi mam ka bi amamu bai aban biye ni wa corruption scandal NC wona se which is between the MPP and the NDC under John Rawlings the first time corruption kakra ko mu ho ebedu kufuo so corruption kakra ko mu ho ebedu ye friend say atamel so ebi ko so ebedu John Mama the first time obeka said in am tamaklo Maslow former Maslow CEO and then as I'm say enra dey gra ejibo ni din so no so kro mo hwe kwan a on betimi di na ba na sika bi e fa nsa se wa be 7 term e dey man which is the 10-year J term yes what did they make a choice here ebi ko so but PSA under Addo Akufo-Addo and the vice president Dr. Alhaji Mahmood Bawumia and Kenoforiata regime so wamu bu oman no PSA sikawia corruption sikawia apobo a woma bo oman Ghana no ebi sida even si ebekọ ye chia kofa kwa Nkrumah bem emre so amemodi ababeka ho a dana na meka wa me sisika MPP fo womo afa wo man Ghana mu a Ghana sika womo nko a pesami nkumnya kwa so omodi awuro mu botom de agu o account mu no PSA MPP fo tena opposition 200 years kure kwa mo ni obi ada ombeko so agi omani
sure
me na meka kire o PSA omo fa sika o me say enkomo ni bi wo ho a empanifo no mpese omo beka kire Ghana fo NDC empanifo mpese omo beka because ebe matemamufo no anye eje ebe sori omusu no be ye den dodo enti ensem ni bi wo ha ye mfento ho na ye mpe kwan ya ye di be siesie no na kwan ya His Excellency John Dramani Mahama any NDC abenya fa so bu o man Ghana MPP fo no bebre wo ha ye omwanwa because omo ni mboni o ma ye o man no
all right enti eno na nam so ma enra eye Attorney General Dr. Dominic Ayine trans a o say ono no wate na enye se wate no hu o so ono no mekai last year December na you were Esedun Ketiako thank you to Ashanti Bruno in Sunyani is it Justice Park or something now no say Dr. Dominic Ayine a very meticulous Sabronika so be meticulous a won pre no ho nyaade won kan asema wonim asichire nyina eno no eti enro Dr. Dominic Ayine say wono ni na sibuo so a kire se Kenoforiata ha lawyer for kuku dam a wo munim dia wo ma ben e wo US say ye twena na o mo so atwe no mayintie ni mra.
At this point, it is left to the American authorities, especially the judicial authorities, to make a determination on whether a sufficient basis exists for the two accused persons to be extradited to Ghana to stand trial. And because the matters have already been filed, right, and I just got to know, that he has hired some of the top, yesterday I got to know that he has hired some of the top lawyers in the United States of America, very experienced lawyers to, defend him. Now, I'm not afraid at all right? I am not afraid at all. But it means that there's going to be a fight in the federal courts in the U.S. If the district court says no, he will go to the circuit court, all right? If the circuit court says no, he's entitled to go to the U.S. Supreme Court to fight his case. So I cannot tell you that he will come tomorrow or he will come the next day, okay? And I'm just being honest. Accounting to the people means being explicit and truthful. So this is what, we are faced with.
Ghana's Attorney General.
Hey! Enana we NK kano.
Ba unim say Unim said, answer na Obama or comment. Unim said, second of Reata, I buy way to man prosecute. No,
That's it.
2028 is Edua Ghana for baby.
A grand dear so much that. A grand deal, but among tears, yes, to say. Kenofurata issue no ana asem na ekoso no eyemra kwanso na PSA yefa wo TMU ga enti no wo ye bone kura ye hu no ye say e allege until se court edi ruling beba say ampa so mesi we ya wafa we ya waye no e ampa ye nya enough evidence.
Okay, mamenko wisdom hobby.
Yes.
Meba ho kwabena.
Yes.
Wizi enti eno no obi de bisa Kenofurata asama na se wo ba no na ne nkrata na ekurakura no na Kenofurata nsem ni shim.
That be in same way this aspect of say Dabena Ken Beban was a question obi bisa but the processes are leading up to say Oma file the case no the OSP allegations no the charge sheets na OSP level against Kennedy I don't know Kasabe kind but this aspect of Dabena Ken because there was a question as to whether say US for Epe will be mostly is an exchange more like a barter trade into Fawebra na Bejiwe. So there was a question of Adentina we should yemfa Abu Trika enko for the extradition of Keno Foriata.
Okay, so
I know the conversation way.
Okay, so I think that the Attorney General can Abu Trika wants some say Sankabunya ko be hande Abu Trika ma US authorities no in exchange for Keno Foriata.
Yes, but he doesn't have that power.
My Attorney General on the issue of Abu Trika. Any can Ufuriata the way now can say so yes and can anybody pass it yemfa Abu Trika and comma US authorities because Bonia wedi no wedi tie US for
yes
and a US for here no them
exactly
na Ghana so can Ufuriata boni odi tia yen nti so fa can Ufuriata emfa man and Attorney General e kan ho asem mayen ko tie Dr. Dominic Ayine on Abu Trika.
So your first question relates to repatriation and prosecution. Well, I don't remember precisely what the Honorable Minister for the Interior said with respect to whether we will repatriate those who have engaged in romance scam or will prosecute them here in Ghana. But granted that he said he will rather repatriate them to their countries of origin rather than prosecute them. All right. You always have a choice. And in the case of romance scam in particular, the victims may not be Ghanaians. All right. The crime would have taken place within the territory of Ghana. In other words, within the jurisdiction of Ghana, meaning that Ghana has, authority or the power to prosecute the persons involved in that crime. All right. But it is also the case that the country of the victims will also have the power to prosecute. All right. The choice that you have to make is whether you want to expend resources prosecuting them or you want to repatriate them. And if you are repatriating them, you have to give reasons to the country. Say, let's say that they are Nigerians. We don't just repatriate by taking them to the Nigerian border and letting them, get off the plane or the bus, and that is the end of the story. Okay? We hand them over with documentation to the Nigerian authorities, and they can then decide that they are going to take action, to prosecute them. Okay? So when it comes to romance scam, it is a complex story. So, for instance, in the case of those that we are faced with now, with Abu Trika being the latest one, all right, most of the victims are Americans, all right. In his case, the story is that the romance scam led to elderly Americans losing as much as $8 million United States of American dollars, and that is why the extradition request was made. All right. Now, we didn't investigate the crime itself. Okay, we didn't know or had no basis to suspect that he was engaged in those criminal activities. Of course, sometimes if you take the lifestyle, you do a simple lifestyle audit, it can come up that this person must be getting illicit proceeds. That is why the person is living lavishly. All right. But that wasn't done. We didn't do the investigation. We didn't build a docket. So we cannot purport to just all of a sudden receive a docket from the United States of America requesting for extradition. Then we say, okay, you know what? We will retain the person here, take your evidence, and then go to court. In fact, the courts will even fight us if we adopt that kind of approach. Okay, so it's a complex governmental decision to take. I know some of those people are fellow citizens who are engaged in the romance scam, and there is a school of thought that says that we should be lenient with them, but all crime is crime, and we need to hold everyone accountable who has engaged in criminal, conduct. And this is the way to.
Okay, so Dr. Dominic Ayine, Ghana's Attorney General, wisdom matter so has say. Enti ono nyaaya ananka odi abutire kabekwa kwajike no furiata ba.
Exactly, but the law no it doesn't really maho kwan sa enti no.
But amra no so somewhere bi.
Say ye kan boni a jurisdictional ye oboni numu a ho na se nka ye di ho asem. Aha sa no ka se sa romance scam e koso o my Ghana. O mu se
Body na udi no tra Ghana na udi.
Yes.
But nipa e affecting in no US. Eti no
bra na omo udi omo boni no be account to omo.
But
no and also one leg of the argument. And the other leg ni say bia wotina ya udi boni no yen ka asem no wo ho. Inteno ne sisia no the face of the maybe omo akwakodu sisia say as to whether abutrika beko and say Ken Beba and say omunya swapping no sisia no there he and already can say the experienced lawyers are Ken a high or more US or more defend it. And you know how our trajectory no so no. So the federal court never say into say the high court has on penny not the court appeals court, and he has the authority up to the Supreme Court.
So doesn't mean say ne metete second for as a wanyan krata as US citizen no. And then say
so we have to investigate and find out. We have to investigate and find out. Say indeed say or dual citizenship and I say a feina or yeah processing no to get the US citizenship card no to become a US citizen. And I say oh yeah da we need to investigate and then find out, because if say na NK can if you are clean and then now you have to fight the and you are in Ghana. You've been finance minister for 8 years. Come and account to the people no. Now oko. Obeka I said during the campaigns, President Mahama I said when NDC wins the elections Mema Obia and Janin they should all stay here. And that's or no from 2016 he stayed in the country. OSP investigated him. Okay.
The Airbus issue.
Airbus. Government official one there. Did they investigate John Mahama as former president? He was in the country. If you are clean. Na boni bia ni ho adena obeko US abochima kwetena and then you are now fighting the system na do beba say bra na bebu ejuma wa ye ho akonta. So it's a big issue to see the Attorney General is fighting. And then he's also made mention say on be try and throw entro bia and on be dad obi and waka say the government of John Mahama no is committed to accountability, which means say somewhere no quality for into no can no crane wo natural na one ba ka say na John Mahama president aban ba ekra no Ken Oforiata 1 year betwemu omonye omohwe or he's telling you the challenges are his face now.
Okay, now say or Ghana for amane say anamo ba ku mienu miensa say na matu na say